Good afternoon, everyone. Mario Quintero here. Must be Thursday afternoon at 4 for our weekly happy hour show, sponsored by Mario's Home News. And this is the one-stop shop. Today's viewing or program, I wanted to talk about something that I see happening a little bit. And I wanted to talk about it because especially realtors who are accepting offers and are working with buyers, or even looking at what is called the DU approval. We're seeing some problems with some of the DUs that we've received on our listings, and it seems like it's a little bit fraudulent, and at the same time, they seem to be inflating some figures. So if you're a realtor out there and you're accepting a DU from a prospective buyer and their realtor, you need to maybe take a closer look at that DU besides just the actual document. Recently we had one that came in and there was 3 different things that were wrong with it. The available assets were off by about $30,000. The income was off by several $1,000s, and none of the assets had been verified. So this almost killed the deal. But fortunately, we were able to take a look at it, evaluate it, ask for some additional information from the realtor and their buyers, and we were able to run our own kind of semi-DU to be able to make the proper decision for our sellers. So all I'm saying is just be aware, because Florida in the past has been known for mortgage fraud, and it's a strong statement. And a lot of the fraud occurred by unscrupulous mortgage brokers, and some of these may be coming back into the arena. So just be careful, be fully aware, don't take the DU at face value, and make sure you do some extra analysis and ask some extra questions, because it could make the difference between a deal breaking apart or moving forward. And in our case, I think what was being done when it was submitted was the broker probably thought, well, I'll throw this out there and I'll deal with it later. And that's not how you operate. So just be careful and be aware of the current DUs that are being supplied, and just make sure that the information is accurate. And as a realtor, there's no harm in asking for additional information to back up that DU. So if the realtor on the other side gets offended, then maybe this is not the house for them. And that's the position that I would take. In our case, we actually took over the buyer and we're doing the loan ourselves, because I told the realtor, if your buyer wants this house, because of the way that this was treated, we need to do the loan to make sure that this is going to work out at this stage of the game, because I'm not going to waste my seller's time with a fraudulent DU. So just a word to the wise. So the other thing that we've seen recently, and also maybe a few months back in the fourth quarter, I feel like I could talk about it now, is fraudulent quitclaim deeds, and how family members between themselves are having issues between brothers and sisters. So one situation that I want to talk about is that a family came to see us a few months ago. They were really happy. They wanted to retire. They wanted to do a reverse mortgage and live happily ever after. And unfortunately, one of their 3 children was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Been a problem. They've tried to help this person over time. Unfortunately, they were not able to help them. And when we started to run numbers, they were of the opinion that they had no mortgage on their house, that the mortgage had a zero balance, it had been paid off, and they were just looking forward to getting the monies to use on a reverse mortgage. Well, when we ran the title search and mortgage and all of that stuff that we do preliminarily, we found out that the house had close to a $300,000 mortgage, that their daughter, one of the three children, had falsified a quitclaim deed of their names and had secured a private money mortgage for $300,000 and had blown all the cash. Now, the parents were in for $300,000. They could no longer qualify for the reverse mortgage. And in the end, what they did was they reported the daughter to the authority, filed charges against the daughter because that was a federal fraudulent thing that she had done. And I'm not sure if the daughter went to jail or what happened, because I wanted to stay away from it as much as possible. But, we love our children. Just be careful if you have a problematic child that could be capable of doing a fraudulent situation like the one that I just described to you, because that was one that was very painful to see, specifically for this elderly couple that thought that they were finally going to get some financial relief. So, regarding children and siblings, just be careful, especially if one of them is a problematic person. We've also had cases of siblings that don't see eye to eye on their relationship, and one of the siblings actually talking the parents into signing the house over to them and not to them and the other sibling, and then going out and taking a mortgage out on the house. And then years later, when the other sibling is trying to help the parents to take on maybe a reverse mortgage to simplify their life, they find out that 10, 15 years ago, the other sibling had done a quitclaim deed, removed the parents off of the title, and took out a mortgage, which eventually supposedly was paid off, but the satisfaction was never recorded. So once again, children and siblings that have malintent, you have to be careful and understand who your family members are, because sometimes it may not be a stranger. It could be somebody close to home that is creating that mortgage fraud. And we've seen it multiple times where it's happened to parents by their own children. So just be aware. And once in a while, it's good, especially if you're a representative of your parents, of their estate and things like that. It's good to keep an eye on these things and just have conversations periodically, because once one of these things happen, it's very difficult to unravel it. And sometimes people do go to jail for that type of fraud. So just be careful and be aware of it. So there is some positive news that I want to talk about today regarding the current market. And basically the first thing I want to talk about is interest rates. They continue to be at all-time lows. Can't give you exact numbers for each different type program, because then I'm required to give you an APR. All I could say is that interest rates continue to be at all-time lows, and loan apps continue to increase from week to week. So people are applying for loans. They're applying for pre-qualification to buy a home, and they're also applying to do rate and term refinances in order to decrease the number of years and the interest rate that they currently have. So there's a lot of action out there right now going on both of these fronts. So if you've been sitting on the fence I highly recommend that you get off the fence and take some action. The other thing is that homes currently that are priced at $500,000 or less are flying off the market. They are not lasting. That is a huge market right now, and there is not enough inventory for the demand. And we recently sold a listing that we had, or we're in the process of selling it. I had over 45 different inquiries on that property wanting to see the property. And actually out of the 45 or 50 people that inquired, actually about 30 people saw the property in a matter of 2 different dates that I had the showings. So what does that mean for you? If you have a home that's under $500,000 and you've been thinking of possibly selling the home, right now it's a seller's market. So I urge you that if you need some assistance or some questions, answers to questions you may have, feel free to give me a call at 305-598-1600. If you're thinking about buying a home that's under $500,000 and you need to get pre-qualified, we can assist you with that also. Because there's no use in going out and looking at homes if you don't have that pre-qualification document, proof of funds, have your credit run, and have everything that we need to do to make a solid offer. We just took an application yesterday. We put an offer together. It took a little while, but we finally got the DU approval. We have all our documents together, and when I finish this video, I'm going to submit that offer for our client who saw the property on Saturday. So, you got to be organized. You got to be ready. You can't just be off the cuff, because in this type of market, you got to have all your ducks in a row. So if you have any questions regarding mortgages, real estate, putting an offer in, what's a DU approval, what is proof of funds, what effects does your credit have on this whole situation, give me a call. You can call the office at 305-598-1600 or my cell after hours, 305-588-0451. Once again, this is Mario Quintero. Thanks for joining me today on the One Stop Shop Happy Hour. If you think this information can help your friends and family, feel free to share it to them on your Facebook. And you guys have a great weekend. And we'll see you, and hopefully you'll join me next week. Thank you very much.